Alistair Jack, talking to our Westminster correspondent, David Porter.
This is very good news for the Scotch whisky industry and for cashmere and other products. I mean, this has been the longest running WTO dispute, 16 years. And as you know, these tariffs were brought on 25% for malt whisky to the US. And that's now been suspended, which is a vindication of all the work we've been doing now that we're able to pursue an independent trade policy.
And how damaging over the last few years have cashmere and the whisky industry been telling you that these tariffs have been?
Well, they've said very damaging, and we've been working hard with both industries to resolve the problem. I mean, if you think in 2018, our exports of whiskey were worth to the US were worth 340 million. I mean, that's a lot of money, and a 25% tariff is a significant amount. But there's light at the end of the tunnel. The tariffs are suspended for 4 months, and we can now engage with Catherine Tai when she's confirmed by the Senate as the new Trade Commissioner to pull together a deal.
Well, that was the Scottish Secretary, Alistair Jack. Let's talk to Ian Houston, President of the Scottish Business Network and the Ambassador for that network in Washington, D.C. Hello, Ian Houston.
Hello, John. Nice to be with you.
Nice to talk to you. Tell me about your business network. How does this work before we get on to the whiskey?
Well, the Business Network is here to strengthen and support the Scottish business and enterprise community. That's really fundamentally what we're doing, making connections, creating dialogue and support for a variety of sectors and businesses across Skesters and Scotland that operate around the world. So we're here to be of support in any way that we can.
And this is good news for Scottish whisky.
Huge, enormous. Immediate relief is on the way, so this is most definitely grounds for celebration and optimism. I think not just for Scottish whisky, but for Scottish business and communities and families and entities here in the U.S. I think, John, what has happened is a change in leadership here in the U.S. has been the spark. These tariffs, in my view, should have never happened or been levied. Yes, we have the age-old dispute between Airbus and Boeing, but let's put those aside. And unfortunately, this is a situation that has been incredibly harmful. The tariffs have been damaging to the whiskey communities and families and related industries. It's something like 500 million pounds in lost exports, and that's deep on top of the COVID stress. So I hope those are not scars that have resulted, but let's let the healing begin and move forward. And the U.S. decision has been wonderful. It puts us on a path forward. USTR and the Biden administration, I think, deserves credit. Ultimately, they were the ones to make the decision, and it was the right decision to make.
Ian, when you're, I know there's probably no such thing as an average American, but in terms of Americans, when they think of Scotch whisky, what do they think?
Well, they think of a fantastic product. I think for Scotland, it's a product that we can all celebrate. Some might be consumers of Scottish whisky, some may not be. But as is the Scottish tradition, we can all celebrate products that come from Scotland. So as far as the U.S. is concerned, when they think of Scottish products, they think of high-quality products. It's important for listeners to understand when we connect Scotland or Scottish to any product, for a U.S. consumer or a U.S. business, that's a positive, most definitely. So the brand of Scottish whisky specifically is a high brand. It's celebrated, but that is across the board for all products and industries related to Scotland.
Okay, you've got me hooked completely here. So in terms, okay, well, I've been in Japan
yes,
and China, where someone will leave a bottle of whiskey behind the bar, and somebody will buy a bottle of whiskey, and that's their bottle of whiskey. And just as you've been saying, they look at our salmon and our other products as being high quality. So when somebody in America thinks of Scotland, what products do they think of?
Well, I think we need to overcome some perceptions that the U.S. has of Scotland. there are positive perceptions, most definitely, that relate to sort of romantic historical view of Scotland. Nothing wrong with that. But I think what U.S. decision makers, policy leaders, business leaders, community and city leaders need to understand is that Scotland is innovative, entrepreneurial, has sectors across Scotland, from the Highlands and Islands down to the borders, that have innovation. The COP26 conference coming to Glasgow in November is a reflection of, I think, what Scotland is doing on climate change. So I think U.S. Industry needs to understand that Scotland is modern. As much as we want people to visit and celebrate the castles and the history, it's modern, entrepreneurial, and ambitious and innovative. That's the Scotland, I think, that we can all celebrate, and that's what we need to export, that idea.
Ian, I'm utterly fascinated by you now. Just in 30 seconds, your background.
My background is advocating for diplomatic engagement around the world with trade, working on Capitol Hill, and really on a personal level, connecting to my roots in Scotland. My dad is from Glasgow, and so it's an honor to represent Scotland and Scottish industry. So, yeah.
You got me all emotional, my friend. When you've been clapped behind the glass, the whole team's on their feet clapping you. So thank you very much indeed for all you've done for the country. If we had an award, we'd give you one. That's Ian Houston. Isn't that extraordinary? President of the Scottish Business Network and ambassador for that network in Washington, D.C. Thank you for your company. So many of you got in touch today. That's it from Drive Time.